Yeah, my
Right. Well,
business
who's
has
going
actually ended
first
up
here
working
then?
out for me. Well, it's like me. I imagine mine's probably going to be slightly shorter than yours.
I don't know. You go first.
All right, make it easy. So I'm going to assume. Actually, I'm going to smoke a joint while I talk. So I'm fucking got a pounding headache. I'm going to assume whenever it is you came back, if you were brought up to speed, you were probably brought up to speed with a variation of my
Thing is,
falling out with
did
the
I
tar.
even get told about it?
Would that be
You fell out of
accurate or
Batar?
no? So this is completely new information to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so when was it? Two
I don't
months
remember if
ago,
you said anything. I'm
maybe. I
thinking back to
basically
my
came
head.
to the decision that I needed to
Maybe you told me.
get out of the city for a minute,
Now
an
told me. Are
unknown
you
amount of time,
sure?
to sort of just go clear my head and reassess things. Now, some things has worked out, but a lot of things hadn't, and I just needed to get gone.
Bada boom, bada bing.
So, but before I did that, I wanted
Went
to
crazy with
figure
it.
out why me and Batar had it was like a coldness between us. I spoke to Matthew Antov and was like, look, have you noticed this? He was like, no, I've not noticed it. If you think there is one, then
It's fine. I
have a
can just
chat with the
pretend I
guy,
didn't know
figure
it.
out what the problem is. Fair enough, good advice. I was up at Zancudo, where I've got one of my businesses, waiting for a plane to arrive to take me away. And Batar comes up and meets me, and we have a chat. And the gist of that chat, because it was pretty fucking short, was I basically, first of all, I gave him a few gifts. You know what I mean? Because I was leaving, so I gave him a few little bits and bobs. You know,
What'd you get him?
Well, I mean, at the time, you boys, or I say you boys, Mandem were ramping up to tussle potentially with,
He knows.
Cerberus and the Italians. So I gave him a dossier on the Italians, including a detailed blueprint of Little Italy, like how to get in and where to get in, all that sort of stuff. You know, the sort of stuff that money can't easily buy. I thought, it's a nice little gift, Anyway, so moving on from that, I basically said to him, look, I'm off, and I would love to know, there's a coldness between us. Before I go, can we clear the air and just be honest with me? And whatever the problem is, just you say it, and then hopefully we can leave here as friends, rather than leave here and there's this weirdness.
I just tweeted it out. Yeah.
And he looked me straight in the face and said, no, there's no problem at all. I've just been really stressed, lots of gang stuff going on, you know how it is. And I was like, okay, well, that's a lie. I didn't say it to his face, like, that's a lie. It's just, it's just internally, I was like, okay, you're lying. So I went, all right, fair enough. Well, that's a shame. I was kind of hoping that we'd leave here as, as mates, but it's what it is. I've got to go. No, I left. And I was about 200 meters, I think, from my hangar to the AirX hangar, which is where my plane was waiting for. And he shot me in the back of the head. He then took my car, drove it up next to me, and made it blow up.
Made your car blow up.
Yeah, as in like he shot it until it caught fire, and then obviously the fuel tank ruptured, and then.
Why? What's the reason?
He didn't say.
Well, what do you think the reason is? Surely you should know there must be some kind of. We just do it for no reason, right?
I mean,
have some kind of inclination as to why it was that was making you guys cold, or why you would do such a thing.
That's the thing. That's what I don't know. Why over the last 2 weeks that I was around, which is again a few months ago now, why he suddenly went fucking cold on me. And I brought it up to, like I said, to Matt, and Matt said he had never fucking clue. So I was like, right, I'll ask Batar directly, see what the problem is. And he chose in that moment to not say whatever it was. Now clearly it was something, but what that something was, I don't know.
Was Batar on his own, or was he with someone?
Me and him were talking on our own, but Denzel was up there as well. But Denzel was just like there, you know what I mean? He wasn't part of the conversation. I think he just drove up with, he just
he
drove
stayed
up
there
with
during the
Batar.
conversation.
No, he wasn't there for the conversation.
What do you mean he just like delivered Batar, or what?
I think that, they drove up together. I don't know if he delivered him, but they drove up together. But I said to Denzel,
What happened? Like, what he just dipped out after.
I don't know, mate. I wasn't really paying attention, if I'm honest with you. All I know that it was just me and Batar talking to ourselves. I think as I walked out as I walked out my warehouse, I think Denzel was there, and I think I went like, "Oh, see you, mate." You know what I mean? Like he wasn't part of the conversation or anything like that. I didn't. While I'm on the floor, I didn't see him running around with a gun out or anything. So.
Have you spoken to Batar and else since, like, to work out why?
No. So I was airlifted via EMS helicopter from Zancudo to the hospital. I think I was in surgery for a couple of hours, and then I was moved to the ICU. A friend of mine apparently was in the hospital, clocked on what was going on. They noticed some people blacked out hanging around the operating room. So two of my mates grabbed the doctor that was friends with them, and they moved me while I was still comatose out of the hospital, out of the ICU, to a secure location where I spent the next, I don't know, like a few weeks rigged up to various IVs and whatnot.
So there are people who are waiting for you, so that we're assuming that that's Mandem members, right? You're assuming that's tough people.
That wasn't my assumption. I wasn't comatose enough to make
I guess
decisions.
now you've heard that information. I'm guessing that's what you're assuming.
I mean, that would be a fair assumption. And I mean, one of the people said they heard Patar's voice in the hospital when they were moving me.
Okay.
So yeah, but no, the first time I spoke to anyone from Mandem was yesterday.
Who did you speak to?
I spoke to Stephen, Matt, and SK.
And what was that? Just going through the same kind of story you just went through with me?
A little bit. Although, their attitude was, well, I don't know. Not the attitude. The demeanor was very off. But I've seen things on Twitter and on other places which might explain why that was. Plus, of course, poor Tommy Cruiser passed away a few days ago. So there's more than a few explanations as to why they were not themselves.
So, what kind of demeanor was it?
Just very guarded, like before, I was shot in the back of the head. A lot of the Mandem boys refer to me as family. I mean, SK said he only trusts 2 people outside of Mandem, and I was one of them. So it seems strange to go from, "Oh, Solomon, you're family." I mean, I was privy to conversation I shouldn't have been privy to, because I was like, I should probably go.
Shot in the back.
No, mate, your family, stay. Okay. So it seems odd to go from that to being, shot without being told why.
Do I trust Solomon much? I do. He's never had no reason not to trust him. You must have some kind of inclination or some kind of.
Well, I mean, I know based on a conversation I had with Stephen asked me, obviously, because when I came to, I found out that Saints had nicked the bench, and Stephen asked me very bluntly, "Do you have anything to do with Saints taking the bench?" And I said, "No, I didn't," because no, I didn't. I'm very honest with you. I don't even think I know anyone from the Saints. But if the story being told or the assumption being made was that I was somehow involved in Saints getting that, then that would explain why they were being all, I say all, Stephen wasn't really offish with me, but SK definitely was. But I don't know what Patar's said. I don't know what version of events has been said to them since the last time they saw me, which was a while ago.
Knowing Patar, it'll probably be a contradicting story. I mean, I feel like he'd tell the same story differently 3 times to different people, so I don't know who it is or how longer after it happened he tells you.
Yeah, I mean,
I never found out, so that says a lot in itself.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how
I'm finding out from you.
I felt it was.
Evidently not that important though, but something that's important enough for him to shoot you.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Back of the head as well, right? You said, or back of the neck?
Back of the head, mate. Yeah, I've got a lovely titanium plate there now. And to be fair to him, mate, it was like 200 meters distance, so it was a pretty good shot.
Seems to be a pretty reoccurring theme of these boys.
What, being good shots?
Nah. They tend to shoot family in the back of the head. It seems to be a thing.
Okay, so I'm going to read between the lines and combine my assumption already I've got about Twitter and people no longer being employed in certain businesses, and what you're saying now to assume that someone's gone down and you've been shot.
You could say that.
Well, should I say it? Or is that...
You did say that.
All right. Is that what happened?
I'm going to need to know how truthful and honest you are and where your current ties lie, really.
Well, I'll be honest with you, Tommy. I've got no reason to lie to you. In the same way that when SK, Matt and Steve asked for what happened, my version of events, got no reason to lie to them. It's one of the benefits of knowing you are speaking the truth is that it unburdens you. The story cannot change because it is the story, rather than a series of events that I've got to try and remember what I told yesterday to make sure it tallies up with what I said today.
Let's just bring it back to your story a little bit, if I can. So you're saying that Stephen queried you quite bluntly about you being involved with the Saints and taking the bench.
Yeah, he said it straight outward.
Do you think there's any reason as to why they felt that way or he felt that way? I'm making him think that
I was with you. I mean, I used to do. I don't know how much you know about my past relationship with Batar and Mandem, but I used to sell a lot of firearms, which I got from Batar. SK also asked me yesterday, like when I figured out that Batar had a bench, and I said, it was roughly around this time, a couple months ago. Just so you know, Batar came up with like a complicated system of, well, he said it wasn't his system. He said it was someone else's system for how to place orders with the bench. You tweet something out, and then you go to a certain location, and then a phone will ring, and then you place the order via the phone, and then you put money in a certain location. Anyway, I won't bore you with it, but it was quite complicated.
Yeah, you're part of the business flow, basically. You're part of the workflow and how it works.
Yeah.
This is where I get to, though. A very common occurrence in these kind of workflows, so to speak, right? These supply chains, is that someone lower down on the supply chain tends to get a bit hungry and they get a bit, how do you put it? Just they get a bit tired of the same old processes and they want to eat more. So that hunger drives into wanting to find out the actual kind of root cause, infiltrate a dealer, find a supplier type beat. So it would make a lot of sense for you to have wanted to, sabotage in some way, even if you had some kind of loyalties lying towards the Mandem and family, so to speak. Depends how strongly you felt, because maybe you've felt more strong towards money and power,
No, I mean, I've never done anything that would jeopardize the boys. I mean, the day before I got shot, I was fucking driving around as part of a six, helping them deal with some people they had a problem with. I mean, the day before I left, I gave them a load of fucking guns and suppressors as a gift. I knew they were heading towards conflict, so I thought, I'm not going to be around. You boys use these. I don't need them. But going back onto the bench scenario, so there was this complicated way of, getting, A and B from this anonymous source. And Batar was about to leave, I think for 2 weeks. He was going on holiday somewhere. And I said, look, while you're away, is this still going to run the same way as before? And he went, yeah, of course it will. Of course it will. I mean, I'm not the one running it. It'll run fine. Okay, no problem. Entire 2 weeks he's away. Doesn't work at all.
Snowy.
There's no phone calls, no tweets, nothing. I'm like, hang on, what the fuck's going on? Like, and at that point, I started to draw a line. Well, hang on. Is this really someone else, or it's a bit of a coincidence that I'm told it's all going to run smooth and then doesn't? So Batar comes back, and I have a meeting with him, SK, and some others on top of the Mandem block, and I go, look, I don't know if how this supply chain works or doesn't work or anything like that, but it certainly looks a certain way. And if it is that certain way, then I'd love to, work closer with you and, capitalize on the market. I think at the time the Sanguine Island stuff had kicked off, and at least two.
I don't know about the Sanguine Island thing still, by the way, in character properly.
30 years in prison. So I made the point that right now would be a great opportunity for someone to really, get a bigger market share. And Batar's reaction to me, sort of saying all that, was a very lackluster.
I just want to find out.
It off in a, no, I'm not the source of firearms. Anyway, fast forward a few more, maybe another month after that, and I'm buying guns directly from Batar. I literally, I contact Batar and say I need, 20 Brownings, and then he comes and delivers me 20 Brownings. So he's pretty much at that point showed that this other system was never someone else; it was always him. Which, fair enough, mate. You got to earn trust. You know what I mean? You can't have everything day one. That would be ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, again, going back to what you're saying there. I mean, look, I had no intention at any point of ever trying to fucking snake Batar or the bench or anything else. I was always more than happy to be a cog in that machine, but I wanted to make sure the machine could move and operate.
It's weird because Batar and I had even had anyone else outside the gang involved. You know what I mean?
I would always argue for working with people than trying to work against people, because that's not.
I'm kind of surprised he didn't ocean dump him. just a bit. I'm trying to put like 2 and 2 together, because him to shoot you, let's say if it was over this whole situation, they had suspicions of you being involved with the Saints or some kind of thing like that. If that was the reason, I feel like they would have done more than just blow up your car.
No, but the Saints and the bench thing happened after I was shot.
No, but I'm saying, but I'm saying maybe that was. I'm trying to connect 2 dots here. You know, I'm saying that Steve's asking you that, so that's where his brain's gone straight away after talking to you. So evidently he must know something.
I think that's because I get shot, right? Who, you know, was buying firearms from Batar, and I'm very well known for being able to find out most things. I mean, that's a large part of my business model was, you know, finding out things for people, and that was a business, by the way, that Mandem benefited from over and over again. So I get shot, and then I don't know exactly when the bench was taken, because I found out at some point, but I don't know if I found out the day it happened, a week after, a month after, or what. Then the bench gets taken. So, Batar's mind, he shot me, and then later on down the line, bench goes. So it's not
Trusting
the biggest logical
part.
Leap in the world.
It snaked me so
speculate
easily.
I might have been involved in it. But that logical leap fails when I wanted to take a bench. A, why would I work with a gang that I've never met? And B, why would I work with any gang?
I'm just trying to freeze the trust.
If I wanted to steal something, why would I steal it and give it to someone else?
Really. Let's say post all that happening now. How do you feel about like Batar and?
I will never trust a single word out of that man's mouth ever again. He lied to my face, and the worst thing about it all, he found it easier to shoot me in the back of the head than have an honest conversation. So all I asked of him was just tell me what has caused me and you to drift apart. Like, explain to me why I'm getting a cold shoulder suddenly. As a friend, that's it.
To be fair, though,
but apparently that was too difficult, and it was easier to shoot me in the back of the head. Like, that fucking boggles my fucking mind. If I've got a problem with someone, I'll fucking tell them to their face.
The trust can be he gets Batar.
I sure as shit ain't letting them walk away that long that they think they're absolutely fucking hunky-dory and then fucking shoot them in the back. Like, that ain't the one.
What do you know about me? Because you know something. I know you do because of the way you spoke.
Well, I saw a tweet from you and then some responses from Vince. I thought that was weird. And then I was browsing, the old employment app. I couldn't help but notice that suddenly no one from Mandem was employed at Gold Rush. So I surmised that clearly something had happened. I don't know what, but something. And when I was with SK yesterday, I said, I've seen these tweets. What's that about? And SK said, you shouldn't believe everything you see on social media, Solomon. You know that. And I said, yeah, that's fine. But then I can also see that, everyone who worked at Gold Rush has been fired from Mandem. And then SK goes, this bank won't rob itself, and they'll get in a car and leave. So
it looks like Batar ain't the only guy who lies to you in the Mandem.
Well, do you know what's really bad? Is when I said about, the whole Batar lied to my face and then shot me in the back, I said, SK, if me and you had a problem, I know full well you'd be honest with me. And then if there was a real problem, we'd either scrap it out there and then, or we'd talk about it. I know you'd never lie to my face. And then 30 seconds later, he lied to my face, and I thought, well, that relationship shifted.
It's all talk. It's what they are. I've known it a very long time. I've known that's what the Mandem are. They all talk, and they prove even more so by the fact that I got to a point with Mandem, right? Obviously, me and you have spoken about Mandem many times, that I obviously built that from the ground up.
Yeah.
Put blood, sweat, tears into making that what it was, and trying to give everyone a place and a kind of family that they can really thrive from. Now, many times I've had feelings about, you know what, like, these lot are a mess. It all looks good and dandy from the outside, but when you're inside, it's a mess. So I'd come back from being back at home. I'd be in a war. The bridges have been burnt. There's like no communication. Everyone's telling me different things, different stories. Stories don't check out when I ask people in other gangs. And then there's gang members who have not even progressed. They've not even done anything in the time I've been away, you know? As much as I was a leader of that gang, I also did everything from the ground up. Like, learned the whole bank system, did all that. Learned the driving, did all that. And a lot of time, that gang relied on me for every skill that I had, until we got people in who had those skills to actually benefit us further. There are people in that gang who have wanted to do certain things, or have said they want to do certain things, since I started that gang. Since their first day in that gang, they've spoken about learning how to hack a bank. Yet we're here 2.5 years later and they've not even done it yet. They've not done anything yet. Yeah. And they're still sitting with no money in their accounts, waiting for handouts every day, hoping that myself or Patar would help them out. Obviously, I made Patar 2IC, right? I made him second in command, and he basically became the leader whilst I was away for a long period of time. I had a big court case back at home, and he was the one controlling the gang. Issue with Patar is he's an enabler. He's an incredible gang member. He's an enabler. He lets everyone else around him be lazy because you get to use him. He's so easy to use. He's so easy to manipulate. You can literally just use him and get anything out of him you want. You want guns for free, you'll get guns for free. You want money, you get money. You can do what you want because he's a people pleaser. And he'll say one thing to you because he wants to please you, but he'll say that the opposite story is someone else because he wants to please them too. That's what he does, you know? But he's super loyal. At least I thought he was. He was always loyal to me anyway.
Until he wasn't.
So I decided that I had had enough, right? To them, it pretty felt pretty like out of the blue, out of nowhere, but it had been something that had been brewing in the back of my head for a very long time. I just was just sick of the same stuff, and I care about Mandem and where Mandem goes. Ultimately, it's what I built, and I'd hate to see it be destroyed. And I felt if I didn't do something about it, then it was already happening. We were already halfway there. As you know, Saints at the bench. Saints done a lot more than that just to the boys as well, you know? They've knocked their confidence and they just ain't the same anymore.
Well, I know there was a...
But that's a great example and testament to me that the gang isn't what it was. So at one point that gang was at the top, rivaling the biggest and best gangs in the city. From nothing. But now it's bottom of the barrel, just a mess. And no one seems to understand or realize that or see it. They're just stuck in their own little, I don't know, just ways. They're just stuck in their ways of complacency. And I've tried to change it many times. I've put out threats there. I've said people lose their chains. Everyone's replaceable. I tried to do a lot of things. But it don't ever change. Nothing changes. They all talk. We'll sit in a circle and we'll talk about it. And they'll look to improve. And then, guess what? A week later, we're back where he was again. Back in a circle, looking to improve. 2 months later, back in a circle. We're talking about improving. Nothing changes. All the same every time. So I said, you know what? These lot need a shock. They need something that is going to hit them to the core and make them wake up and realize it ain't the same as it was. So I had two options. It was I go there and I have a massive culling and we say, right, chain off, chain off, chain off, chain off, and we leave about 5 members left in the gang. Or I step away and I realize that I'm not going to be there to hold their hand anymore. I can't bankroll them anymore. I realized that they had used 20+ million from Gold Rush just to fund every war they was in. Because they don't need to work for it. They can just use my money, you know? Patar was giving them my money. So I tried to step away. And they all begged me to stay. And they all like just kind of emotionally blackmailed me to stay. Saying I don't even need to be around to be a leader, you know? It's my gang, it's what I built, and it's what I taught them. That you don't just turn your back on family. Next day, I meet up with Patar and SK. Apparently everyone's got a different attitude now. They're not in that emotional attitude. They're more logically thinking. They're thinking with their heads now, not their hearts. So I was honest with SK and Patar. I found out from Patar about the money he had stolen without asking me and how much it actually was, because I found out through the angels. And I was trying to get into SK's head, like, good luck. You need to like really switch up your mindset for things to change. And I told him how my thought process was of leaving and stuff like that. And he listened to me, but he weren't listening, you know? It was in one ear, out the other. He's now got this new chip on his shoulder. He's now been appointed the leader, which I missed out, by the way. In the first meeting that I had, I said, when I came to do with Mandem, it wasn't I chose to be it. It was voted in by everyone who was there. So I got everyone there to vote who's Mandem. They all said SK in a heartbeat.
That would have been my choice.
It makes sense, but I didn't pick anyone, right? Because when I said it'd be a new 2IC. After Patar, I made Patar not 2IC anymore as well. I'm skipping some stories here. Just it's a long story, you know.
Yeah, no, I get it.
But Patar was removed from 2IC, just wasn't good enough, and he wasn't helping anyone. And needed someone there. So I said to them all, kick into shape. This is the week before. Kick into shape, and the person who sets up the most will be 2IC. But no one really did kick into shape properly, you know. They all tried and did their little thing, but no one really got into it. So I didn't pick anyone. But SK become the new leader, right? So now, evidently, SK is now, it's like my gang. It's his gang and his ways. And somehow he's convinced them that Mandem is a kind of chain down, body down gang. And they're trying to say that I've the one who said that, and that's what I taught them. When no one who's ever left the gang has been shot because they put their chain down. I've always had a thing of if someone was unhappy in the gang and wanted to change their lifestyle, then they could talk to me and they could, you know, they could walk away in an amicable way and give them that option. I give them that respect because they're still part of the family. They just don't want to be in the gang anymore. They want to do something different and seek new horizons and adapt their own way, you know. Everyone has different things they want to do and achieve. And if being in that gang doesn't let you achieve those things, then you can go and do it. You know, if you're leaving with the right attitude and intentions, then I have no issue if you're walking away from that gang. You haven't got to be blooded in, blooded out. You get given a chain, and if you don't want to rep that chain no more, then I'm not going to force you to keep it. And I'm not going to shoot you for not wanting to keep it, you know? I want someone who's there who wants to be part of it. Also means that people can leave easier. It means you get more loyal people because they're more willing to stay for longer because they know that they haven't got to like stay for the sake of it. They're not staying from being scared. They're staying because they want to be there. But anyway, so I had this conversation with Patar and SK. I call out some members and say there's a lot of dead within the gang. There's a lot of people in that gang that are just not adding anything anymore. So SK in his new leader role should look into find out who these people are. And I gave SK a test. I said, as a leader, you know they exist, so you should highlight them for me right now, just to see if he's like actually going to take on that role and actually really be honest with me. And he didn't name anyone. He said, oh, it's a new fresh start. So I knew there was no action happening. So same talk all over again. They're going to go in a circle and say how he needs to kick into gear now. Skipping a couple more conversations. They go to leave because we're going around in circles, them two now. And I put my chain down so you can take this with you as well. You know, just to show them that it wasn't for me anymore. And then that could then go to the gang. They could say, right, T is actually fully left. He ain't got a chain no more. We've got his chain. So they can actually, you know, kick on. That's all I care about really is what's best for that gang, right? I want that gang to progress and move forward again. If it's getting someone who's going to be a leader, who's there active every day and pushing them on every day, making sure no one gets complacent, then so be it. I'd rather that than me being there helping it rot to its core. Put my chain down, walked away, and then hear a bang. I'm on the floor. EMS are saying, "You right, sir?" Turns out SK shot me. Back of the head. Back of the neck, in fact. Guess he missed. He's not as accurate a shot as Patar.
Fucking hell.
Left for dead. Drove off.
Yep. Sounds familiar.
Luckily someone coming off the train must have noticed that I was just on the floor lying there in the station and called the EMS for me. Then get out of hospital and check my bank account. Bank account, should I say. Qatar has stolen millions from Gold Rush, stole millions from UK Oil. And they had drained any gang account, I guess hoping that I wouldn't do the same to them.
Wow.
So instantly,
Okay,
I got that's why they all get
tweet.
sacked. That's why they all get sacked, because I had to cut off access. They had access to everything, all my businesses. So they've just proven themselves even further. I said that they need me for handouts and need my money. Turns out they did, because now I'm gone. They had to take my money just for their last snatch and grab, you know. Now they haven't got to work, they haven't got to change, they've not got to adapt, because they've taken the money anyway.
Like a cushion.
So I said to Batar, you've got two options here: repay all my money back, or I cause a whole world of issues for you lot. And all he could reply to me was, a simple meme of the shiver me timbers, trying to pretend he ain't scared. So I got the block bombed on the same night that I got shot. Just let them know I'm serious. So now we'll see. Now we'll see what they're really up to.
What do you think they are really up to? I mean, do you reckon there's going to be like more, or do you reckon they're going to just hunker down and hope you leave them be?
I mean, so yesterday I spent a good amount of time, you know, following them around. Had my camera out, you know, zooming on their meetings, trying to take photos of them, sent photos to them. So they knew that I was following them. Said run little piggies, as they all darted out of a meeting in the block when I'd sent the photo over.
Nice.
Mental warfare, you know, right now. We're keeping it nice and simple.
I mean, who doesn't love some fucking counterintelligence and mental warfare, mate?
So maybe we'll
Bread and butter.
slowly heat up, you know, we'll see how they can take it. I think what they're going to come to realize is that the Mandem is Tommy T.
What's your end goal? Is your end goal to like teach them a lesson, or what? I mean, like, how does this end for you?
One thing that you might not know about me is I'm very petty. Someone wants to fuck me over, I'll fuck you over 2 times as hard, 10 times as hard, in fact, you know?
I don't know if I'd call any of the actions of this petty, mate. I mean, they shot you in the back and then robbed you.
But I'll make it petty.
I don't think... Yeah, I mean, I feel like petty isn't quite the word, but yeah, I get it.
Well, in many ways this could play out, right? Ultimately, I still want what is best for the Mandem. That hasn't changed. But maybe what's best for the Mandem is that none of those people are in it. Because, I mean, they're living on a block that I own.
Interesting.
Everything that they have is from me, realistically. Patar is a massive assistance in that, but Patar turned his back on me. If there's no Tommy and Patar in that gang, then there's not a whole lot of stuff going on. Maybe there was stuff going on, but they've lost that as well, as you know full well. So what do they really have anymore, you know?
I mean, your money and each other, I think.
And as I said, the Mandem is Tommy T. So a lot of this city, even though it has changed a lot, I feel like I caught in a lot more favors and a lot more connections than that whole gang combined. And a lot of those connections that we have, Mandem so-and-so, Mandem so-and-so, is ultimately just a Tommy connection with that gang. And it's like a respect that's fought from the fact that I built that bridge with that gang and never turned my back on that, you know? See, my Ingo is a reality check for them.
I mean, is there a world where you can see yourself like sharing the same space as them again, or was that boat floated?
Who knows? SK and Patar may have... That might be gone. I mean, SK was my boy, you know. He slept on my sofa for a time. I taught him everything I know, really. Maybe power's got to his head now in one day.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. Never thought I'd see the day when he lied to my face, but there we are.
Likewise, I never thought that I'd be receiving a bullet from SK. I probably upset Patar, to be honest. I called him Deadwood to his face.
It was SK that shot you?
I know, but I probably upset Patar, though.
No, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, you'd think if anyone was going to fucking get upset and shot, it would be...
Yeah, but if SK's leader, he probably needs, you know, he's in that mindset of he's got to prove himself.
Yeah.
Can't like a weak leader. Can't be just bossed around by the ex-leader, you know? So we'll see. I don't know what my full intentions are yet. But I have many tricks up these sleeves.
I bet you do, mate. I bet you do.
I don't think they're prepared. So it depends. I really trust you a lot of information there, and the stuff that I've told you, they all know. And that's that's where I draw my line with you currently.
Nah, that's fine, mate. I know this is my golden rule. I never ask people for stuff that they aren't fucking willing to fucking share. If not willing to share it, I ain't pushing for it. Never have, never will. You know,
everything
like
you
cousin,
know, they know. So
mate, it's nothing. I'll be very cut and dry with you right now. That you could tell me anything right now, and none of it is going back to them. There is zero reason.
I'm cutting off.
For me to lift a finger.
I'm going to cut you
off. To assist them. Carry on.
So, if you heard about my feelings and actions towards the Mandem, you'd know one thing that I hate. One thing that I can't stand. Is talk. Because a man can look me in my eyes and say whatever he wants. It's a game of chess after all, right? You can talk to me what you want. You can say what you want. You can say that I don't do this, I don't do that, I do this, do that. I've been in the city a long time. And there's not many people who have stuck true to their word that whole time. Which is why I have a lot of connections, a lot of people in the city. Because I always have. Because what matters the most is action. How do you act? What are the things you do? That's what matters the most. That's what lets me judge you as a man.
Yeah, I get that.
So like I said, I don't want to hear anything from you in a sense of what your values are or how you've been in the past.
Yep, get it.
I guess our mindset would be, you got shot by Patar, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it depends if you want to get action back on him for that. Or are you not a revenge kind of bloke?
I guess that remains to be determined. I like to be a bit more creative when I get revenge. Anyone
I didn't say what a revenge was. Didn't say you got to shoot him back in the head. Just curious to see where your mind is at. Is your mind at the point of you want to get some kind of get back, or do you like to draw a line in the sand and say, you know what? It is what it is. That's the game.
I'll be honest, mate. I'm still ruminating on that.
Well, I guess the day you decide that, you give me a call.
Will do, boss. You gonna be around much, or?
I should be.
Not so much. Okay. I'm meeting with a few people tomorrow, so that might help finalise my vision. And if it goes the way I think it will, I'll give you a call.
Who are you meeting?
Some of my old boys.
They all know? I guess they all know, right, about you?
Yeah, no, they all know. They all know. These are some of the people that I did a lot of my snatch and grab and wet work with. You know what I mean, like the Die Hard.
Okay.
So I kind of want to see where their heads are at with a few things, and if they answer the way I think they'll answer, then we'll be back in business.
All right. Well, like I said, just let me know.
I think you'll be getting a call tomorrow, mate.
All right.
In the meantime, if you need anything, you just let me know, whatever it is.
I
You know,
appreciate
whether
that.
it's food, radios, laptops, fucking a gun, whatever.
Maybe I'll give you a call as well.
Phone's always on for you, mate. It's just you driving around in it at the moment, then I guess it's part of the incognito thing.
Nope. Just the vehicle that I'm meeting you in.
Fair dues, mate. Fair dues. Well,
Just so I can pick you
maybe
up.
oh yeah. No, don't worry about that. I've got to pick up.
I know it's cold outside. I think you're just staying here. I'm gonna leave you here. Sorry, mate.
Nah, it's all good, mate. I've got to pick up. I'll see you around.
All right, later on. Pete and Baz teaming up because Josh is ancient. Fuck you.